Hello everyone, here we are going to see what is ARP spoofing and its intuition. What is ARP spoofing? ARP spoofing is the type of man-in-middle attack. So that means that the communication happens normally between the router and the system. But whenever the ARP spoofing is happening, the hacker will come between the router and the system. The hacker himself will identify like a router to the victim or the system, and he will be identifying himself as the system or the victim to the router, so that the communications happen between the router and, let's say, the hacker and the system. So how it happens actually? To understand this one, how the ARP first of all possible? So the ARP spoofing is actually possible due to the victim can receive the response even though making any request. So that means that whenever it gets the ARP response, it will react to the ARP response. So what happens when you receive the ARP response? Whenever you get the ARP response, you will be updating your ARP table. So what will be the ARP table? In ARP table, you will be having your IP address and it will be mapping it to your MAC address. So that means that your MAC address, in the sense, whoever having IP address and its MAC address will be updated frequently in the ARP table. So what happens because of that? So the real communication happens between the systems based on the MAC address, as you know that. So whenever you just exploit your MAC address with some IP address, you can make the data diversion actually. So what is the first step? So you are going to send the response. To be precise, you are going to send the ARP response to the victim, so that the hacker's MAC address will be mapped with the router's IP address. Then the victim interacts with the hacker instead of a router, which means that now you will be having the router IP address and it will have the mapped hacker's MAC address in your victim. So whenever the victim wants to interact with the router, it will go to the ARP table, it will get the router IP address and it will look for the mapped MAC address. So now you have updated the MAC address of the hacker, so that you will be actually interacting with the hacker. The same way for the router. So the hacker will be sending the ARP response to the router. Now the router's ARP table will be updated with the hacker MAC address mapped with the IP address of the victim. So that means that whenever the router has to send the data, rather than sending to the victim, it will be sending to the hacker. So now both the communications happens through the hacker. Is it okay? But still we need to have something. That means that even though you are sending the data or getting the data inside your hacker machine, you have to forward. So that's what called packet forwarding. If you don't do the packet forwarding, which means that the data will be just going in a one way to the hacker machine and it will not traverse through that. So that's the reason you need to make the packet forwarding, so that it will give the illusion like the data flows between the data communications happen between the router and the system, but in real time it happens through the hacker. So it will happen only if you have the packet forwarding. So this is about the ARP spoofing. So the ARP spoofing is the one type of man-in-middle attack. And what are the key terminologies we have learned is what is the victim machine, what is the router IP address, and what is the ARP table. In ARP table, you will be having the IP address and you will be having the MAC address. So how are we making the exploitation? So by changing the hacker MAC address in the ARP table, so that you will be just sending the data or getting the data inside your hacker machine. So this is all about the very basic understanding about the ARP spoofing. In coming videos, we will understand how to make the ARP spoofing by using the Kali Linux terminal. In other video, we will be understanding how to make the ARP spoofing by using the Python module. So thanks for watching and have a great day.